Uh, one fan for life or 100 for a little while?
Today we are joined by Alan from Barriers. Alan, how are you doing, man?
I am feeling pretty good, thanks.
Awesome. So tell us first of all a little bit about Barriers and kind of what the drive behind the band is, and yeah.
Okay, so Barriers is a hardcore band from Northern Ireland, exclusively from Northern Ireland.
There you go.
It used to be a funny in joke. We'll get to that in a second. There's actually a funny story. I'm just going to tell the story as well about how it started. So I went to university with a guy I was really friendly with who played rugby, and he became a Christian when we were at university, and he knew that I liked, I suppose in his words, it would be terrible music. And he had another friend who wasn't a Christian and also liked terrible music. And as we got to know each other better, and as he grew in his faith, and as we sort of journeyed together through 4 years at college, he said, I can't wait for my other friend to get saved, and then you two can start a band. And I just thought this was like, talk. That guy's like, yeah, that'll be great. I can't wait. It's going to be the best ever. And then so we were actually praying for him, like by the end of it. And then like fast forward 9 years, 10 years, and I was working I wasn't working, I was working in a church, but I was writing a talk, sitting in a coffee shop, and the guy in question walked past the window, and he sort of like gave me a double take, and I was like, I know this guy. And he sort of walked on and then came back, and he comes in and he goes, Donny, and I was like, yes lad. He goes, did you hear I got saved? I was like, what? This is incredible. And he goes, we're starting a band. So I was like, okay, that's obviously a sign from the Lord, and maybe this is okay. At the time I was playing in a death metal band, so I suppose I probably needed an excuse to get out.
Yeah.
And then we started writing, just the two of us. We started writing some songs, and then it sort of became a band, and then we got some friends to join, and the original lineup was me and Hara, and then the Chambers brothers, who were living in England at that stage, but I knew because they had lived in Belfast previously, so they still owned a house in Belfast, and were sort of to and fro, and we made that work for a year and a half, and we'd written quite a bit of music, and then all the changes came, and that was NIHC.
Yeah.
Clarify, and then you guys helped to ruin that. But you also helped to put it on the map and put it back together again, so we'll be forever grateful and appreciative of that. Barriers is a hardcore band from Northern Ireland. We are unashamedly Christian, and our mission, I think that's kind of what you were asking about, our mission or our purpose is to go to those places where people wouldn't go, like people wouldn't choose to go to church to hear or see about God or about Jesus or about grace. So we try to take that mission, that message into those other places, and hopefully we will, if we haven't already, reach some people that like terrible music, which is what we specialise in.
There you go. So, I guess straight off the bat, because obviously, what we want to do with this podcast, I do, and Joe just tags along, Is the
He doesn't really want to do it.
yeah.
I just get pulled every time.
Every
I was
time,
like, I'm just happy chilling at home,
and he's like, I'm
watching
coming.
TV.
Yeah.
And John's like, no, you're coming to do this. I'm like, well, what? It was like, before I know it, I'm plonked in a chair and just told, there you go. I'm like,
Sit,
what?
And, you're like this, and then it's like 10 minutes to sit there while I move the camera around.
Yeah. 10 minutes.
Oh,
is
you know, I'm
generally-
accidentally doing a podcast again. What happened?
Yeah. But
It's usually in my house as well, which is the weirder thing
Yeah.
as well.
because I can't get you to get up to London.
That's true. That's also true.
The accidental podcast is always in your place.
Yeah. But the purpose and the drive behind the podcast, so almost to flip that question on its head, is to bring a different like aspect, because a lot of people ask about what's going on with your music, what are you doing, like what's your career going like, and for us we want to delve into like mental health and how that affects you in a band, and how that's, you know, even like to the point if that's what's driven you to make music, like we want to know about that side of it. So
What's going on in your Chrome Dome?
what's going on in your Chrome Dome?
Yep.
There you go. But yeah, so was that a question for Alan? What's
No,
going
no,
on in
it's
his
just a
Chrome-
statement. I just wrapped up everything you said in one
That's a
statement.
specific question.
Yeah.
What's going on in your Chrome Dome?
There you go.
Well,
You can do the
I
podcast
think-
now.
I think, in terms of that, yeah, I'm going to address the preamble rather than the question, because I think that's the best place to go with this. It's one of those really funny things where, until maybe the last year or two, I probably didn't really realise the full value and the extent to which music and playing in bands had helped. I know I've got a friend who had been through addiction recovery with an agency locally, and that was not in any way church related, which I always found strange, because I had always thought, you know, like, and I don't mean this, like, you know, Christians and mental health and, you know, the stigma that's around that, and sometimes how other Christians treat that or stigmatise or ostracise an individual for maybe being open about mental health issues,
Yeah.
or asking for help. You know, oh yeah, I'll pray for you. And maybe it's not even like a let's pray right now and let's go for a coffee and let's go for a walk and let's actually do something. It's, oh yeah, I'll pray for you.
Yeah, almost
Busy
like
now, though. Too busy now to even pray.
yeah. I was gonna say it's almost like
That's it.
a big. I've seen it a lot as well. It's almost like a fob, or sometimes it's even like they have the best intentions, but they don't actually follow through or deliver on. Yeah.
So I've found that obviously there's something beautifully therapeutic about screaming in a microphone or punching all your best friends at the same time to a syncopated kick drum.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, just what barriers, especially because I've been in bands before, and yes, it has served a brilliant purpose, especially with friends. But I suppose this is where you two come in as well. Like we sort of got that to the stage there where it was the real band.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think we've now managed to continue that on in the same vein. But like it's brought, like, me and Hara are now like best friends. And when we started the band, we were only starting the band because we were two guys that this other guy knew who both liked terrible music. So there's the music part, and then there's the band part, because it's like what the band offers, you know, like literally like a band of brothers or a sister or lots of sisters. And that's that element of friendship, community, togetherness, and focus or vision or working towards a common goal, I think is massive. To go back to the original story, the guy that had come through the addiction recovery thing was telling me that his like life coach, if you want to call it that, was saying that like every day, if you're suicidal, every day you should wake up, you should make your bed, you should get dressed,
Yeah.
and you should get out of the house. and you've already achieved 3 things by the
Yeah.
time you get out of the house. And even if you only manage to get up instead of wallowing and like lying in your bed, if you only manage to get up and make your bed, you still achieved something
Yeah.
every day. And so I was kind of like, and at this stage I didn't really have an understanding of what that meant. I would say the only times I've really struggled with poor mental health or bad headspace really has probably been since having children. And I don't mean that like
Right. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
I don't know my kids, they're amazing and they're such a blessing and such a gift. But being someone who's always had the time for myself and been so free, like now I find that I've got so much more responsibility. Like, and it's a responsibility that you wouldn't want to escape the weight of it, but you can't really explain the weight when it's a life or 2 lives or 3 lives or whatever that are wrapped up in yours, and all of a sudden, you can't go and play football or train, you can't get to the gym any day, never mind 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't even listen to the music that you want to listen to, or you're not just in the place to do that anyway. So that has become a lot more real as well, sort of since all of this and in the last few years. But I just feel then that it shows me that having the opportunity to spend time with friends, to sing in a mic, to go to a show, and to hear new music and make new music is just like it's taken on a new life as well and a new meaning for me. So it's been pivotal and brilliant for me.
So it's okay. So I just want to jump back just a little bit, but just to finish that. So it's almost like a therapeutic place for you. Like music has become like I would say, cathartic and and somewhere you can really just be out of everything else and
like a haven, a safe place.
Yeah.
So we're going to do this new feature that we've added for those of you with the benefit of YouTube. Hello. This is the new part that we're calling Quickfire Round. Quickfire Round.
That's now become the cipher.
Quickfire round. So I'm gonna shoot you 5 quickfire questions, which are simple, one or another questions.
So would you rather, I guess?
Sorry. That's it. I give him all the time in the world to ask his questions. I have one thing. He tried to be on this podcast. I have one thing, and he can't help but intervene.
I'm going to look at this light fixture up here.
He can't help.
It's a lovely light fixture you've got going on.
Anyway, back to the round. So it's a would you rather.
Sorry, no, you quick fire it.
Would you rather quick fire round. I simply you obviously you're gonna choose which answer, and I just want you to justify your answer. And it's only really quick fire because you can take as long as you want to answer it. It's only really quick fire in the question, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah. So, first question: hometown headline or main stage download?
So much for being quick. Main stage download.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Even playing first.
Yeah.
No one or bottles of not drink.
Not drink. Special yellow water.
Special yellow water, extra hydrating.
Slash other
depending on who throws it.
They're just slash. They're just slash. Balls of slash.
From Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
exactly. They come with the top hat and everything, the curly hair.
Perfect.
Okay. Second question. Sleeping Giant or Skillet?
If anyone says Skillet, just get them off the podcast. That's like Sleeping Giant or Creed. Sleeping Giant or Nickelback. Sleeping Giant, the best Christian hardcore band of all time, or any terrible butt rock.
I'll change it then. Creed or Skillet. There you go.
Creed or Skillet.
Yeah.
Who?
Creed or Skillet.
I'm embarrassed that I have to answer this, but no, yeah, funny Skillet.
Do you know what? Sidebar. I took my girlfriend to see Skillet in Florida,
You'll respect me for this.
and I was like, oh, I'm seeing Skillet right now, and he was like, the Creed of Christian rock.
That's 100%. Isn't Skillet just like frying pan?
Yeah.
Why aren't they just called frying pan?
Because they're American.
Yeah.
I feel like I could relate to them more if they were called frying pan.
Because they make a similar noise.
Yeah.
Or?
I listened to just for clarity as well. I listened to 2 full Sleeping Giant albums today. Like,
Oh, there you go.
Fair enough.
I am in the zone without even knowing that question was coming.
Yeah.
Skillet did not do it justice. I was like, oh, this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be the guns of like Christian metal, and then I was like, or not.
One fan for life or 100 for a little while.
One for life. HXC, bro.
I was going to
That's
say, you're basically asking him, how shallow are you, Alan?
Always one for life.
Yeah.
Always one for life.
Yeah.
Okay. Acoustic or electric?
I know that I shouldn't have to think about this. I'm going to go electric just because of what Barriers is and who I am. But that's not a knock. That's a tough question,
Yeah,
and
'cause
that's a brilliant quickfire question. It has to be electric, but when you ask the question, I'm just thinking Jimmy Eat World, Johnny Cash,
yeah,
Or,
you know,
yeah,
you can't. Johnny Cash.
worship music.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
so much worship music, like in church, whenever it's like electric, it's just like someone who's not good enough to be in thrice playing riffs that aren't as good as
I
thrice
love that. Yeah.
over normal worship songs.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that is like, that's desecration of an electric guitar.
This-
So it was all in there.
This might be a little bit controversial, but considering what you just said, I don't think it is. I prefer, so I don't know if you knew this, but so Sleeping Giant's new band, Holy Name, it's essentially Sleeping Giant with our friend Whiskey at the bass. But the song Fall on Your Knees was originally an acoustic song by my other friend Aaron Craner.
Yeah.
And then it was done heavy, and it was like, I quite like it, but also I prefer the acoustic over the
The acoustic of it absolutely bangs. Like the
Yeah.
end of it, obviously, now also bangs.
yeah.
But like, I remember, maybe it was you that told me that, or maybe we've been talking with Whiskey around about the time of that coming out. But whenever I realised that it was a song, I think I found it somewhere. I think it was a YouTube video. Just like, this is already brilliant.
Yeah,
So like, fair play. Everyone's put their stamp on it and made it work,
yeah,
and it does what it needs to do.
yeah.
The final question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, you said you take
Yeah,
too much
yeah.
time to answer the questions.
Yep,
Sorry.
fair.
You just rudely interjected in his answer because it's what John does. Final question. Just more for the big money. And working in the church, you'll understand how important a question this is. Christmas or Easter?
Ooh.
I'm about to get fired. No, Easter, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000% Easter.
That's fascinating.
And that's because, and this is funny because I was speaking in church on Sunday past, and the all age services, like they're kind of aimed at kids or like non-Christian visitors, I would say. So that's my license. So I was kind of doing an Easter recap, like the point of Easter, and then my talk, and I was just saying why Christmas is obviously important, but it was like one line in my talk, and the rest of my talk was all following on from Easter, and because Easter happened, and what Easter means, and who Jesus is and what Jesus did, and I just couldn't ever escape that personally, never mind, and I don't want to say professionally, but because I work in a church again now, it's like, yeah, 100%. And people say that to me all the time. Oh, you work in a church, you must really love Easter. And I was like, well, yeah. Like, even if I didn't work in a church, because I'm no longer a slave to sin, it's kind of like the most important thing ever.
But even like, because that's it. The reason I like find that a tough question as well is because, like, big picture, like that's a time you get to spend with family.
Because presents, right, John?
That too. That's kind of cool. Yeah, you always do pretty decent presents. Like, yeah, I got a little Lego pug for Christmas. That was fantastic. Yeah.
It was a Lego DeLorean.
Oh, the year before, yeah.
Which I think I built it for him because I got one, and I built it, and then I was like, no way John has the patience to complete this thing.
So you got all the fun out of the present, and he just got the present itself.
I still loves it.
I still love it. Yeah.
Like I left all the bits that you can like take apart and change it for the different eras of like the DeLorean.
You can change it from like the first movie, the second movie, or the third movie, and you've got like the different
press the button, it
components.
flips the gold wings and does all kind of stuff.
And
I just did all the like mechanical bits that you have to build to make it do that.
And underneath you can like pull it and the wheels go up. So it doesn't fly though. That's a bit of a disappointment. But
You boys
I'm
love Northern
really
Ireland.
pleased you decided not to drop out of Winner to test that. That was
yes, that about that.
this is why you can't live alone.
No, but in all seriousness, like that, like the opportunity to spend time with family and like to spend time, you know, even just like having time off work as well, and just not having a time to relax. That's it's fascinating because it is still a tough question, but also I think as a Christian, Easter should always be the most important.
That's kind of strange though as well when you do work in a church, because automatically both of those things become the two busiest.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to say that takes anything away from them because of it, but like I don't mind that it's super busy because it's an extension of, you know, family really when you work in a church, because you then have that opportunity to and I don't mean like minister to strangers, but like the community that you're a part of are not accepting you or welcoming you, but they're celebrating these big things with you.
Yeah.
Because you also have a role to play in their community, family, call it whatever you will. And that's just sweet. That's good.
Yeah, no it is. So yeah, I like that. You're right there.
Tiny spider. Don't know what was hanging. Possibly a light. Maybe my head.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So as a band that's Christian driven, and like it's like your drive is like your purpose behind it is ministry and God and things like that. Where do you find the church really lets us down, where maybe the community that you've created around you works a little bit better, or where not just necessarily you, but the music community has done a better job?
You can never show your place of work this
Okay.
now.
Oh I'm not saying Alan's church. I'm just saying the church as a whole.
The Holy Catholic Church. the church as a whole. Yeah, so that's actually a brilliant question, and I think the answer is easier than we make it a lot of the time. I think it lies within understanding. Whenever you see on like social media, let's just take like bigger accounts, whether it's a bigger band or like a community that exists around Christian metal. Whenever these accounts post things, there's always someone in the comments saying like that's not Christian or that's blah blah blah. And these people, when you go to their bios or their profiles, they are Christian. It's an understanding thing. These people think because music doesn't sound like what they want it to sound like, then it has to be wrong or it has to be inherently evil. And
I was literally like today, I literally just was talking to Ira and said the same thing, like music comes from God, so therefore how could any kind of music be of the devil? Period.
well,
Like,
sound itself is a neutral moral tool. So the only thing that gives it a meaning or could possibly make it evil, no matter how evil it sounds, and like let's be honest, we write songs and we're just like, nah, not evil enough. Tune down, whatever, slow it down, break someone's face. And that's well and good, but the only thing that actually really attributes meaning to it are the lyrics. So if like we try to incorporate either actual biblical lyrics or biblical narratives, stories, verses, or whatever, if not just a general type of meaning to every song that's kind of about forgiveness, like that's okay, but we don't really write songs that are generally about anything.
Yeah.
We've songs that are explicitly about the first chapter of Acts, or the thief on the cross, or the book of Revelation. So you work within that and you let that guide you and you take it from there. But to come back to the original question, for let's just say an old person as well, like for a 70-year-old that goes to my church, and this is not a knock of my church again, this is my experience, this is my lived experience, for me to think that it would be a good idea to play them my new single or our new single because I'm really happy with it and I love it and it glorifies God completely, that's remiss of me. If I played that to a young person who's really cool but doesn't like hardcore or metal, they're also going to think it's trash. They might think it's evil, they might not. They might also miss the nuance there whenever the pop music that they're into is actually glorifying, sex or drugs or promiscuity or, mental delusions. I don't know. But then whenever we try to present eternal truth in the right way, along with music that we love, that has helped us, that continues to help us, and might be able to help someone else, like it's just shallow either way. And I think that works when you flip it. It's not that we're knocking the church, it's that culture doesn't understand, and some of that unfortunately has bled into the church rather than the church choose to see it as, my heart for worship, or, Tara's heart for God, our collective heart as a band for mission, for ministry, for grace or salvation or forgiveness.
Yeah.
So instead of maybe instead of being mad with our church and expecting more from them, we should just focus more on the people that need it and the people that actually genuinely want it. And I've had a very good conversation with a friend actually for a long time, who plays in another band in Belfast, metal band, very metal, could probably say very not Christian. And I've been really not surprised. I've been really encouraged by a bit surprised by some of his responses when I've asked him some really tricky questions this week. I think he was asking me some tricky questions based on something that I replied to one of his posts, and we've just had a really good dialogue. And I'm just like, this is cool. And then what was really funny was that someone sent something to me this morning, and I forwarded straight on to him because it was exactly what our conversation needed, not to end the conversation, but just to help him.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is perfect. And that's just God at work there, joining those dots. And if that's all, and this is going to sound really stupid, but if that was as much as Barriers ever achieved, in that someone could hear something like that because they know who I am or what I believe, so they would have a conversation with me, then that's good enough.
I love that.
You guys, or you in particular, are very, very, probably the wrong word, but active and very positive with your like social media in terms of like connecting with fans and things like that. Do you ever find there's kind of like, as everyone says, the dark side of social media, and how to deal with like the negative kind of side of that thing, and like how it affects your headspace and like kind of keeping a positive light on things?
I think, well, personally, I was a huge fan of MySpace, right? So whenever MySpace was no more, gone but not forgotten, it was kind of like I will maintain some kind of social media presence, but and I appreciate you saying that because it makes me feel like I do a better of a job than what I actually normally feel like I do. But whenever, I suppose the answer is twofold, because first of all, I still don't think that, I think social media is a free hit to a band the size of Barriers. You know, like we could probably get another 10,000 followers and still not really draw any detractors. We're so tiny, it's kind of like only people that care are there for any of it.
Yeah.
So people tend to be positive, and like, I don't mean like even if we put out trash, like we're not about that, and we always try our best, we always do our best, and I think we probably do have some people that are genuinely into the music we make, and because we treat people like friends, that really does help. That's the whole point of social media. The thing that gets me is like, so once, I think I told you about this, but once I went on like a post about, it wasn't to do with music, or if it wasn't to do with like metal or hardcore, but it wasn't even one post either, it was like one day I just decided that I was going to be that guy and annoy everyone. But I was on my social media account, and I logged out of mine to log into the band's Instagram, and I literally went, I mean, like after football teams, like specific fan groups, people, memes, reels, the lot, like people that were saying things like, you know, just really controversial stuff and about current news stuff and all. And I was just saying like hot takes, but that I genuinely believe.
Yeah.
And I was putting them in there, like, so like political stuff, Donald Trump, like I'm just putting this stuff in there, and like because I'm on the band account, so many people are like clicking, like we have the thing that keeps an eye on how many people have viewed your page, and I mean within a week of posting something about Donald Trump, not posting about Donald Trump, just like commenting on it and then replying to everyone that's talking crap. Like we got like 1,000 views in a week on our profile. Like we have like, I don't know, 1,000 followers maybe, probably more than that. But like that's big traffic for a tiny band and a small page that's not as active as it should be. And then Harv's told me, can't stop doing that because my phone's going mad. He gets all the notifications. I was sitting at like 2 o'clock in my kitchen one night just being like, oh, check in here on Donald Trump. And went on. And the band accounts is like, I just wish we could write a good song so people don't have to go and find out who we are, what we do, and then like complain at us for that. And I was just like, you're an absolute sucker, because like after like 10 replies and people go, don't even agree with you politically, I'm like, you're a sucker. I play in a terrible band and you just like boosted our profile like the algorithm, and we're releasing a new single. It's just like
So we've just learned about the barriers marketing ploy. That's good. That's good.
The only ploy that we could ever use that would be better. But I suppose as well, if we got around to writing some new music and putting it out,
Yeah,
we could maybe push that as well instead of just annoying people with hot takes.
The plan was great.
The
Until
only
you
other-
got to the point where we didn't use it. And they were like, yeah! Oh, dang it.
It gets all the listens, but everyone that listens to it is like, this is a piece of turd.
Next time I will write a new song before we start all the comments. There we go.
Yes, do that.
So,
Should have thought about that.
well, now you know for next time. So, to wrap up our call, because my battery is dictating it,
Okay.
if you had one thing to share with people in relation to mental health, or whatever you want to share, what would that be?
It's threefold. The first thing is movement, and with that I will group get outside. So the best thing that I think that you can do to improve mental health is get out for a walk every day, especially if it's sunny. If it's not sunny, and it's not going to be sunny all day, get your coat on, get your hood up, wear a hat, listen to music that you like, but get outside and get moving. The second thing is to stick to routine and celebrate those small victories. If the only thing you achieve is waking up, getting out of your bed and making your bed, then that's a success, so celebrate it. And the third thing is linked to that. It's also routine, but it's about the importance of prioritising the relationship. And I say that in various ways. Maybe I just mean two different ways, because we've got the horizontal level that operates on is relationship with your family, friends, peers, and people that you work with, people that you see, and people that you get to know. Ask people questions, but listen, genuinely listen. And on the vertical plane, that is the relationship that exists between you and God. And I genuinely believe that whenever we have struggles and problems, everything can be improved, everything can be made better whenever we take it to God and we present it to Him, because He knows the answer. He's put us here. He has walked this earth as a man in the form of Jesus, and He has suffered worse than we all have. And that I don't say that lightly, and I don't want it to be taken lightly. The bottom line is, whenever we're going through our absolute worst, it doesn't scratch the surface of what Jesus endured for us on the cross. So for us to know that He was sweating blood in the Garden of Gethsemane before going to the cross, and He still willingly carried His cross to Golgotha, and then was mocked, spat on, beaten, and crucified. Like, that's horrible. And I'm not saying suck it up, because He's endured far more. I'm saying whenever you share with a friend, someone who understands your pain, you feel better and you're glad that you shared. I don't know why we aren't glad to share with God whenever we understand that He's been through it all before. So on a personal note, that works on both levels. And I would just recommend that we maybe take it to God first, but then also if you have a friend or a confidant or two friends or a partner or whatever, then by all means definitely share it with them, be vulnerable with them, but take it to God, because he'll provide the answers, because he can fix it. He's the user manual, whereas the friend is just a listener. So, yeah.
I like that. Awesome. Alan, dude, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been so much fun chatting to you and catching up.
It's good to catch up.
Yeah. Should do it again sometime without the cameras next time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with cameras too.
The cameras, yeah. Keeps us accountable, I guess.
You just have to like leave 20 minutes leeway so John can get ready before we start hanging out. That's all.
He got the lighting just right.
Yeah. Standard.
Give him credit where it's due, Joe.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
Mad props, respect, hope through grace. Let's go.
Dude, yeah. Seriously, thank you so much, Alan. Appreciate it.
You're good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.